my name is Jess and this is the Miss Libertarian podcast. Today we're live in Memphis for Freedom Fest and we're going to be discussing trans ideology and what this means to libertarians. Today I'm joined with Isa. Would you be able to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yes. First of all, thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. I love the Ladies of Liberty Alliance. I'm very happy to be here. And I am Brazilian. I am a hardcore libertarian. I really believe that individuals are the protagonists of their own lives. And I think that's how they should thrive and look for their own happiness. So this is what I'm doing by being a libertarian. And that's what I want to do to other women in the world.
Great. So today we're going to be discussing trans ideology and what that means for libertarians. So you wrote an amazing piece about Miss Netherlands being a trans woman. Could you define what your argument was in this article?
Yes, of course. I believe that individuals can do whatever they want with their bodies. So if you really identify as a trans woman and you want to live your life and thrive and look for happiness as so, that's your right. That's something that comes with you when you were born. And you can live how you want. And you can look for opportunities in life to achieve it. Happiness and to fulfill your freedom life. So if you want to participate in a Miss Universe or a Miss Netherlands, that's up to you. That's completely up to you and up to the organizers. So if the organizers setting the rules, the owners of the event setting the rules, they say everybody's welcome, every woman is welcome, it doesn't matter if you're a cis woman or a trans woman, you should do it. And that's up to the people that is attending the event. Not only for those who are attending, but the audience. They do have a target audience. So we cannot ignore these people. What are we going to do? Are we going to prevent them of doing that? Even if you don't like it, if you don't think it's pleasant, what do you want to do? Do you want to stop them from doing that? So the whole point is in private industries, with private rules, with private ownership, they should be doing, unless they're not harming anybody or doing it in an unconsensual way. Yes, of course, we should stop them, but that's not the case. So I congratulate Miss Netherlands for being the second trans woman to be classified to attend the Miss Universe. I don't know if I'm going to be rooting for her, because I'm going to be definitely rooting for the Brazilian, the Miss Brazil.
So I think you really touched on a key part of what it means to be a libertarian, providing choice, because we all have opinions on the trans debate, whether you're pro or against gender ideology. I think as libertarians, we need to allow people the freedom to do as they like, vote with their dollar. As we've seen with Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light, you know, conservatives didn't go through the coercive measures of the government. They went through boycotting Bud Light, and look at the success that turned out. So I think with Miss Netherlands, that's the way to go. If conservatives genuinely care about these things and they're not just doing it to be outraged, they should just boycott it or start a rival organisation, as you demonstrated in a previous interview. What do you think about the whole idea of go woke, go broke? Do you think libertarians should be cheering on that slogan? Do you think it's plausible? What do you think about it?
Well, I'm definitely not a conservative, so I don't really care about trans ideology. I think people should do whatever they want with their bodies, and it means becoming a woman or becoming a man if that's what they want. I don't even know if trans people agree with the way that I'm phrasing it, but well, for a general audience, that's how I see. So I'm not a conservative, so I don't really care about what people do with their own lives. So, well, I would never boycott Bud Light or the Miss Universe because they have trans women. Actually, that's up to them. And I would never stop drinking Bud Light either. But if that's the fact, if that's what conservatives care about, they don't need to watch it. They don't need to run for Miss Universe. Or if they really think, oh my God, it was very wrong to have a trans woman winning, well, if you're that confident, compete. If you follow the other requirements and win over them, that's what I think they should do. Or create the rival competition.
Today at Freedom Fest, you and our amazing Director of Operations, Holly G, were on a podcast, we're on a radio talk show, and the trans topic was brought up, which is weird because I'd consider the trans debate and the culture wars quite outside libertarianism, just minus like a few things. Do you think this should be a key issue for libertarians to focus on, or do you think there are bigger fish to fry?
I just think less than 2% of the population identify themselves as trans in general. So I think it may be very important for these 2% of the population, but when we're talking about women in general, and when we're talking about women's issues in general, I don't understand why this is always brought up. I don't really understand. And I don't think that should be the main issue on the women's world.
One thing that I do think that should be a libertarian concern to the big crossover between the gender critical movement and the trans debate and libertarians is the issue of, for example, toilets. I think when a woman goes into a toilet, the female sign is a sign that biological women are there. I think that's violating the women's consent if they see a biological man in there. I think that goes against a key libertarian aspect of consent. What do you think about that?
I think this is a very secondary debate too, because when we're talking about toilets, we're talking about an adult place and somehow public. I don't think having someone that identifies as a trans woman is going to be a threat necessarily. We are, as I said, it's less than 1% of the population. I don't even know how many times I've been at public toilet with a trans woman. I don't really remember a single time. So what are we gonna do? Well, they can always use, it's not the solution that I'm giving, but they can always use the family restrooms too, where they're more private. In many places nowadays, they fix that situation privately. They put that the toilets that can be used by men and women no matter what. So they've been creating better solutions than anything that we have ever thought. For instance, there was a place that I've been last year in Florida, and it was so funny because the sign, instead of being the regular guy and the regular girl that we used to see, they had a boy, a guy, a monkey, a fish, a gorilla, and then a giraffe, and then meaning that, and even if you are an ET, you can come too. So meaning that everybody could use the toilet. The toilet is a place only to go doing basic human necessities. It is not a place that you're going to be there hanging out, talking to people or harassing people. Harassment can happen anywhere, and it doesn't matter if you're a cis or trans person. So it's just a place that you're going to spend 10 minutes max, or 5 minutes. So I don't really understand why it's such an important topic to many people.
So what is the libertarian stance on the trans debate, and why should women be convinced by this?
The libertarian statement on it, and why we're right and why they should follow it, is because we are here to promote you, the individual. Doesn't matter what your choice is. We're not here to value your choice. That's up to you. That's up to the individual to make their own choices and figure it out how they want to live their lives. And our point is, if you want to live your life not harming anybody else, we're going to here to support you. It doesn't mean we're going to be friends. We don't need to be friends. We have our own friends for different reasons. We find our friends, but we are here to respect. So either if you want to wear a skirt or pants, that's a completely private issue, and we're not here to judge, and we're not here to, not even to promote it. That's not our part too either. I'm not here to promote what you want to do. Like, I'm going to do what I want to do with my life and within my family, but what others are going to do, I'm not going to be promoting anything. That's not my problem. So that's why I think we are right about it, because we're here to respect you no matter what your decisions are.
So we've talked about the trans debate when it comes to the free market with companies like Bud Light or Miss Netherlands. But one thing that I don't think is discussed about enough is the government's impacts on trans ideology. In the UK, for example, we have the Gender Recognition Act, which many gender critical women have a problem with because it basically inserts by law that biological men who identify as female, called trans women, they are women by law, and many women have a problem with that because it means they go into prisons, women's prisons. Or, for example, the Equality Act in the UK, where, do you know diversity inclusion officers? I think it's a thing in the US as well. So there's like officers in every sector, and that is pushed by the state. Or, for example, education, it's on the national curriculum that we're taught about trans ideology. What do you think about that, and do you think libertarians should be more vocal about that?
Yes, definitely. Libertarians should be more vocal about it. So this is the issue when you brought up the points about what's going on in the UK, which is completely different from everything we've been talking so far, because we're talking about the private space, not the public space. Because when we are in the public space, they're pushing something on you and on everybody, regardless about what the individual being pushed believe. And for instance, I am 100% against any kind of diversity policy. It doesn't matter if it's for women, for based on your ethnicity or based on your gender. It doesn't really matter. So a point that libertarians do is that we are not supporting any kind of government policy pushing diversity. This is a private matter, and that's how it should be. That's how it should be considered. So I mean, and so when you mention the national curriculum, I don't think at all education should be under the government's hands, because they're not. First of all, they're not really doing a good job, and second of all, who are they to define what your children's going to be learning, and who are they to define what they should be prioritizing at school? So, I mean, anytime that you put the government in, I think the first debate is we should be putting the government out before talking about whether the topic is.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode. And thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Jess Gill. This is Izabela Patriota, and this is the Miss Libertarian podcast. Thank you.